Here's more wrestling news for August 12th, 2022, and we're starting off this afternoon with WWE. And ever since Triple H took over as head of creative and talent relations, the company has seen a mass return of former superstars, including Dakota Kai, Karrion Kross, Scarlett, and Dexter Lumis. With more returns rumored, the wrestling world is on the edge of their seats as to who could come back next, and now Paige has thrown her name in the ring. Speaking on the sessions with Renee Paquette, Paige spoke about the possibility of her wrestling again and says that she feels fantastic. "I would love to face Sasha Banks again. I feel like Triple H is going to get her. I feel like now that Hunter took over, everyone's going to be like, I'm ready to come home." Paige was cut from WWE in July, mere weeks before Triple H became head of talent and creative, as the company did not see any reason to keep her employed 4 years after her retirement. Paige has always remained confident that she will one day wrestle again, and with her having a connection with Triple H through her NXT days, a return mere weeks after her departure isn't off the table. For years, Mickie James has entertained fans in several promotions and has held championship gold on several occasions. It was just this past January that James returned to WWE for a one-night appearance at the Royal Rumble, but the former Women's, Divas, and Knockouts champion isn't planning on another. When a fan asked James if she was going to be in the WWE Women's Tag Team Titles tournament, believing that she'd be Asuka's partner, not only did Mickie refuse the claim, but said that she feels like she's done in wrestling. This was a huge announcement by James, who has seemingly hung up her boots for good, but there are other roles for her if she wishes to remain in the industry. It was in 2019 that a then-injured James provided commentary on WWE Main Event, and last year, James was an executive producer for the all-female NWA Empower event. After starting her career in wrestling all the way back in 1999, it seems like James is ready for a life outside of wrestling altogether, and we wish her luck with whatever comes next. Yesterday, we reported on NXT's 2.0 superstar Amari Miller, who had some interesting words about Sasha Banks. When praising AEW's Athena as the only African-American women's champion, Miller said how Banks didn't count, at least in her book, as the boss is half African-American on her mother's side and half German on her father's. The subsequent backlash would result in Miller deactivating her Twitter account, but she's now back on the platform and has apologized for her previous comments. "I didn't mean bad intentions with what I had said, but I do want to apologize. I meant something super well, and it came across horribly. I want to sincerely apologize to everyone. I also have to understand that posting on a social media platform can sound one way to me as I'm typing and can come across totally different, but that's lessons learned for sure. People make mistakes and people grow, and that is exactly what this experience was for me." Like many, Miller meant well with her message and wanted to highlight the success of Athena, but you can never count on how your stance will be interpreted by others online. Banks hasn't publicly commented on Miller's initial tweets or her apology, but for the NXT 2.0 superstar, she's hoping to put this all behind her and move forward with her career. On this week's AEW Dynamite, CM Punk made his on-screen return after months away with a foot injury. The AEW World Champion attacked the Jericho Appreciation Society and took out interim AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, earning one of the biggest pops of the year. According to Fightful Select, fans will have to wait until All Out to see the crowning of the undisputed World Champion, with Punk vs. Moxley scheduled to headline the show. All Out has reportedly been the plan for Punk since his injury happened, though it was also noted that AEW were willing to delay Punk's return if needed, knowing that they didn't want to rush his return. Speaking of his return, Fightful also noted that there was a restricted area backstage during the Quake by the Lake show, in an effort to keep Punk's return from leaking online. It was also reported that many of the people involved in the brawl at the end of the show were not told that Punk would be appearing, so the shock on their faces when the AEW World Champion returned were entirely genuine. AEW did all it could to keep Punk's return a secret, and it certainly paid off, and we'll just have to see how WWE follows up on his comeback on the road to All Out. Punk vs. Moxley is a main event certainly worthy of All Out 2022, but don't expect the AEW World Champion to get too physical between now and September 4th. After his return, PW Insider reported that while he was on TV, Punk is still rehabbing his injury and is not expected to wrestle before All Out. Punk did well in his return this week, but was hurting the entire time, and it goes to show just how tough the AEW World Champion truly is. Speaking of injured wrestlers, it's been nearly a year since Kenny Omega wrestled, as the former AEW World Champion has been recovering from a litany of issues. Omega's injuries date back to before AEW even begun, but his long-awaited return may just be days away. That's according to PW Insider, who have learned that Omega is expected to be the Young Bucks' mystery partner in the six-man Trios Tag Titles tournament. The Bucks and their mystery partner are set to face Dragon Lee, Andrade El Idolo, and Rush on next week's Dynamite, which could mark the return of Omega. Omega and the Bucks are no strangers to Trios Tag Title gold, having held the never-openweight six-man titles twice in Japan, and you have to believe that the Elite Trio will be a favorite to become the first AEW Trios Tag Team Champions. Former WWE superstar and Backstage personality Road Dogg, real name Brian James, recently revealed that he got into an argument with former CEO Vince McMahon over AJ Styles. Brian spent a few years in TNA Wrestling, now Impact, in the 2010s, where he worked with Styles a few times. When he returned to WWE as a writer and producer a few years later, he was one of the advocates for signing AJ to WWE. On the latest episode of the Wrestling Outlaws podcast on Sportskeeda Wrestling's YouTube channel, Road Dogg said that he got into a huge argument with McMahon over the signing of the former WWE champion. "I literally fought for him to get hired there. I had known of him, I knew everything about him, I'd seen his career in TNA. A lot of times Vince is in that WWE bubble and doesn't know about these guys. So I knew what AJ was capable of and what he brought to the table. So one of the first big arguments me and Vince got in was over AJ Styles. Vince didn't see or know what to think, and I pushed a little too hard trying to say that he was over." After his TNA release, the Phenomenal One made his way to New Japan Pro Wrestling. In Japan, he became the leader of the infamous Bullet Club, won the IWGP World Championship, and wrestled in classic matches with the likes of Kazuchika Okada and Shinsuke Nakamura. After his escapades overseas, AJ made his WWE debut in the 2016 Royal Rumble match. Since then, he's become a Triple Crown and Grand Slam champion, as well as one of the top stars in WWE. With an impressive portfolio at the biggest WWE event of the year, it's certain that despite his age, Styles has a few more great WrestleMania matches up his sleeve. Now, for close to a year, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin were part of the Hurt Business, and the group proved to be extremely popular with fans. Once the stable was broken up, despite the pleas of the members, Alexander and Benjamin would continue to team, though were mostly relegated to WWE's C shows. While they may not appear on Raw all too often, Alexander and Benjamin have been regulars on WWE Main Event, but now their time as a team has come to an end. During this week's WWE Main Event taping, it was confirmed that the duo have split up, with Alexander getting the win over Benjamin in a singles match. Unlike other tag team breakups, there was no big violent split between the two, and we'll just have to see what the future holds for the pair of former Raw Tag Team Champions now that they're singles superstars once again. And we're ending with AEW's Quake by the Lake edition of Dynamite, which saw Jade Cargill put her AEW TBS title on the line against the company's newest signing, Madison Rayne. Despite the best efforts of the veteran Impact Wrestling star, it was Cargill who left Dynamite with her championship and also made history in the process. By retaining her title, Cargill has become the first champion in AEW history to reach 10 consecutive title defenses. Kenny Omega's lengthy reign as AEW World Champion saw him defend 6 times before losing to Hangman Adam Page at Full Gear, while Darby Allin's record-setting reign as TNT Champion saw him reach 9 title defenses before he lost to Miro. This double-digit defenses record is certainly an impressive feat by Cargill, and we doubt that the reigning AEW TBS Champion has any plans on dropping the title anytime soon. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.